So, if you're a British person, you probably know how the British media and general people on Twitter treat Jeremy Corbyn. According to a lot of people, he might be the second coming of Stalin because he just wants to make this country into, I don't know, an authoritarian Soviet state. The propaganda is pretty ridiculous. But I think what often happens with people like this is that you kind of have to make up stuff to smear them because deep down they are genuinely good people. So someone made a good thread of all of these old tweets that Jeremy Corbyn had wrote on Twitter about 9 years ago. And I just want to read them out because I think this really exposes him as just a fundamentally decent, nice old guy rather than what the British media portray him to be. And when you are listening to me read these tweets, just imagine what Boris Johnson has been saying over the last couple of years, but also what he was saying about, I don't know, 8 years ago, about working class people being drunks, all this racist stuff he said about Muslims and black people. Just remember all of that while I am reading these comments and think about, is it fair this man is vilified more than someone like Boris Johnson? Way, way more. So let's get into the tweet. So the first one is Jeremy Corbyn. They've only got like little bits of interaction. So he says, well done on a brilliant piece in The Guardian today, Seamus Milne at Twiz.com, and pleased to see you're back and about. So just a nice little congratulatory message to someone who wrote an article. And then he says on the 10th of June 2011, my 1000th tweet, save the NHS, our health service, the most civilised part of Britain, stop privatisation now. So it shows that he's always consistent. And for those of you who don't know, Jeremy Corbyn has been a pretty obscure politician. Think of Bernie Sanders and you get the gist, someone that most people don't know about. So it's nice to see he's always been consistent. So another tweet in 2011, he tweets someone called DPJ Hodges. Yeah, well, I still think Richard Milhouse Nelson was a crook. So nice to see he has some good opinions there. This is kind of, I relate to this. In August, he tweets someone saying, are you a person with a name hiding behind the image of a dog? A very nice dog, by the way. So I don't know if any of you else get this, but a lot of the time when you're fighting with racists and people on the far right on Twitter, they all have pictures of dogs, like their dogs. Somehow because they know they're wrong and what they're saying is awful, so they can't put their real face. So Jeremy Corbyn just talking to someone about that. So he tweets something called Graham Morris, superb, vampiric, capitalist, destroying all that is good. So this is why I think Corbyn's a bit more socialist than someone like Bernie, but it's nice to see him tweeting something like this and being consistent. It's not something he'd probably say these days because you can't say capitalists are bad to be elected Prime Minister. So here's one I like as well. So he said, I think the BBC's problem is a love of graphics and an endless chat and no information, and that's good because I think I think the BBC has turned into absolute garbage. And Jeremy Corbyn has shared my sentiment in the past. I don't know if he'd say that now because this is why these tweets are good, because you see what he was like in the past and saying stuff that he would never be allowed to say now with the party. So now he's just like, because he's just like a simple guy who loves his nature. He says, swallows seen over East Finchley allotments today, good news. And he's only got like one like and 2 retweets. Isn't this like so wholesome when you're exposing a politician for what he said in the past? Isn't it nice that he just seems like some old nice grandpa? Because he does have his allotments and he grows his own vegetables. So then he says, someone else, Tories seem to hate allotments and prefer property speculators. So he's just funny, just some old guy who loves growing his vegetables and hating on the Tories. So this was a good one. So in 2011, 999 people liked my fan page. Can anyone push it over to the 1,000 mark by suggesting it to your friends? So it's so funny to see how far these people come, because he's got millions of followers on Twitter now. So he only had under 1,000 back then. So this is probably my favourite one, just another wholesome one. Cycling in the snow is challenging. Amazing beauty of snow and trees in Finsbury Park as the light slowly disappears, leaving a soft glow. So, yeah, and another one about the snow. He says, Hampstead Heath, lovely in the snow, very icy for runners. Are we a bit crazy or what? Happy day on. One tweet and 1 like. So yeah, it's just really, I guess, sweet. He seems like such a nice old person, and just, it's interesting to see the difference between him, you know, when he is obscure, when no one is checking up on him and no one is monitoring what he says. His opinions are just about allotments, about being anti-capitalist, and about how he just, you know, likes nature and everything. That's what Jeremy Corbyn is. Rather than Boris Johnson, awful person his whole life, Bullingdon Club, lying when he was a journalist, all this racist stuff. That's what Boris Johnson was in the past, compared to Jeremy Corbyn, who was basically like a harmless old guy, like stereotypical old guy. I think he's 70 now, so he'd been about 60, 61, 62 back then. And now ask yourselves, who do you think the racist is? Do you think it's Jeremy Corbyn, or do you think it's Boris Johnson? Do you think, when you uncover things this guy said in the past, Jeremy Corbyn, he's a nice guy, and it's all fine. It's like Bernie Sanders. When you go, it's like those memes, it's like, Bernie Sanders exposed what he said in the past, and then it's just something that's totally relevant to today. And this is why it's so annoying, and how you can see how corrupt our media is in this country, and in the US. The US hasn't been as bad with Bernie, because they haven't smeared his character yet. They've smeared Jeremy Corbyn's character to no end, like a nasty, venomous guy. He's ruthless, he gets every dissenter out of the party, and of course he is leading, you know, anti-Semites back into the party. And if you're a Jew, you better leave Britain when he becomes Prime Minister, because it's going to be like some awful stuff. It's going to be purging Jewish people. That's how crazy this hysteria is in this country. But then you just scratch below the surface a tiny bit, and you see that he's a nice, genuine guy who just loves growing vegetables, watching birds, and riding his bike and walking around London. That's what he likes to do. So anyway, I hope you like this little look at Jeremy Corbyn's old Twitter feed. It's not as insightful as my AOC video where we looked at her old Reddit account, and that was just as fun. But it is just nice to see, when you like a politician and you go into their background, they are just a nice person in general, and they're just a pretty harmless person as well. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you liked the video, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe to the channel. Check out my Patreon and WordPress in the description if you want to follow me on social media. Follow me at The Cavernacle on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me at u/TommyCahill1995 on Reddit. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.